Hello everyone, Chris Peterson here. Wanted to bring you another commentary type thing. I'm going to be playing a 15-minute game against DuleTrivan56. Looks like he's from Serbia. The moves are e4, c5, f4. I generally play pawn to d5 when they do this, because d5 is like the great equalizer in the Sicilian defense. I like the knight f6 because if they play c4, they kind of have a precarious pawn structure. And I can play moves like b5 and start undermining everything that they're doing. But as it is right now, I'm just going to Vianchetto my king's bishop. And yeah, so if you can't tell, I got a new microphone, so I'm going to be doing quite a few more videos, and I'm going to be bringing Brian Wall over to do some as well. I think e6 is pretty good here because it's kind of challenging his center, and if he takes, it helps me develop my bishop, and if not, I get my pawn back, so that's good. And I can always castle if he plays like queen e2 or anything like that. So, I mean, right now it's just kind of like an opening gambit kind of thing. I don't really have like a lead in development at this point. The gambit's more about exploiting his overextended pawn structure than anything else. I wish it was a more sound approach to this, but as it stands right now, yeah, I don't have that. So he's got double d pawns, so it's going to be very easy for me to get my pawn back, and there I get it back right away. Just go ahead and take that. Wondering if he goes bishop b2. I think, well, I can win his f-pawn right away, so I'll be up a pawn there. So he's got to defend that. Maybe d3. d4 doesn't work. I think, let's see, what would be a good move here for me? I'm thinking knight c6, so if he goes bishop b2, I can play knight d4, and that would be a pretty simple way for me to block this long diagonal. Yeah, so that way I don't have to give up my dark squared bishop, and he can just trade knights or something. Now, I think I need my bishop out of the way. So now if he plays bishop b2, I think I win a lot of material here, because bishop takes bishop, rook takes, bishop takes knight, bishop takes, and then queen d4 check, and then I pick up his rook, so that's a pretty simple line that I don't think he can take with anything. He has to move his rook back. I think bishop b2 was a huge mistake there for him. Should have maybe played queen c2 instead, so he's in pretty big trouble here. He's just going to be down a piece for nothing. Bishop c4 doesn't work because of queen d4 check, and then I can take the rook anyway, or I can back my own bishop up and be up a piece rather than an exchange. Yeah, so he's just down a piece here. I mean, if he just resigns, this would be an extremely short game, so I probably wouldn't put this on YouTube, but we'll see. So that's my opening. I don't think it's really that sound or anything. If we can just play through it really quick. e4, c5, f4. d5's a common way to equalize in the Sicilian when they play this f4 move. Because when they take, generally you play queen takes, and then after knight c3 you just go back, or queen d7 maybe, and then b6, bishop b7, and you've like equalized right away. But I kind of like the knight f6 line. I think I said c6 before. Sorry. In which case you can play e6 and break up his pawn structure that way, or b5 and really undermine his little lackluster center here. So, yeah, after g6, I mean, it's just pretty common ways. And then at this point it's already equal material, so it's not. And he's got this isolated d-pawn with no possibility of an attack, so it's a very easy position for me to play. And now it looks like he's just going to be losing a piece, so I gotta say, his opening was pretty poor. So he wants to do that. So d4, I think I'm just going to play bishop takes e2, and then knight takes d4, and yeah, that's about game over for him. If he plays rook takes, yeah, I was thinking queen takes just to force the queens off, but knight takes d4 wins tempos, so that's the proper way to do it. Now I could potentially have check sacrifice, like knight sacrifices to win his queen, but at the moment they don't work, so I'm just going to overprotect d4 and push my pawns for success, I guess. I mean, I'm up a pawn and a piece. That's more than enough material to win, so. Where was he from? Serbia? 16-19 in the 15-minute pool. I'm only 1856, but I haven't played that many games, so. So now he's got me in this pin, but it's not much of a pin. I think I'll go queen f5, and that gets out of the pin right away. And if he goes, I don't know, queen c4, I think I'll just play rook fe8. And, well, I don't really have too many threats right now. Actually, if he goes queen c4, I have knight f3 check, because if he plays rook takes f3, I have rook takes d2, and same thing on pawn takes f3. So he has to be careful where he moves his queen. If he plays queen takes queen, I'm just going to play knight takes, so that way I don't ruin my pawn structure. There's no reason to ruin your pawn structure just to get a cheesy trap in, so I'm just going to play knight takes and play solid. No reason to give up my huge advantage here, or at least give him a chance to, or at least give him a weakness that he can work with, so. I'm not sure what exactly he can do here. He's pretty much dead in the water. I mean, possibly if he can double on the 7th, but that looks very unlikely. I don't know. I think b5 c4, and that gives me a pass pawn. Pass pawns are great for just great in general. So, what does he want? He wants to come into e7 pretty clearly. That's what he wants to do. So, is there any way I can make that less attractive for him? So he wants to win my a pawn, it looks like. So I'm just going to go knight d4, and then I'll just play a5. And he really has nothing. a5, and if he goes rook a7, I just go rook a8. If he goes rook c7, I just go rook c8. And I can put my rooks on a8 and c8, and I have no weaknesses anywhere. And he can't play a move like rook f to e1 because of knight f3 check, so. I mean, he could have resigned a long time ago, but you can't fault a guy for playing on, really. So, just going to take my passed pawn and push it to queen. A good tip for if you're, well, for anyone really, if you're ahead in material, the best thing to do is keep your pawn structure as sound as possible. Don't make a lot of unnecessary weaknesses in your structure. He's going to be trying to do some stuff here, but I'm just going to take, it doesn't matter which way. And f6 does absolutely nothing, so just keep your pawn structure sound and don't let him invade with the few pieces that he has left, because you're just going to give him unnecessary chances. So now I think rook dc8, and then rook f to d8 if he goes rook d7. Well, then he might have some tricky stuff with pawn takes pawn, but I'm not too concerned about it. Now, he really has no way to defend this c-pawn from coming in. If he goes rook c1 right away, knight e2 check wins a rook, and otherwise it's just going to be pushed. So I'll just push now. He's going to go rook c1, and then I'll start invading with my... I think I can just win right away. Let's do some calculating here, I guess. So rook b8, king e3, rook b1, king d2. It's really sad that that a2 pawn is there. I wish it wasn't. I think maybe rook e8 and then rook e2 check. I think that might be a good way to go. Just kind of block him out from getting closer to the pawn. It's always good to restrict your opponent's king so he can't get it to where he wants it to go in the endgame. So if I can go rook e2 check, I don't know, king f1, I can go rook h2 and I can start picking off his pawns. And I'm also threatening rook h1. And if he goes king g1, I can go rook d2 and that just wins his rook right away. Or it forces the trade of rooks and then my pawn can queen. So maybe king e1 is the way he has to go. But that doesn't look like it's going to be too kosher for him. Because king e1, knight f3 check, then he has to go back to f1, and then rook h1 check, so he resigned, that's what that sound was, so just looking at some examples here, king g1, rook d2, king, doesn't matter, I'm going to be playing here next. Let me examine it really quick so I can show you the last part. So if he goes king g1, I can play knight f3 check is one way to do it. And then when he moves, check and then take his rook. And if he goes king e1, same idea, knight f3 check, king f1, rook h1 check, king e2, rook takes c1, and then just queen. So that was that game. Let me know what you think of my new microphone and this video. I'd like to get some better games going in here, but right now my rating's kind of low, so I can't do too much about it. So, yeah, so I'll catch you guys later.